another update on where we're at with our gun laws, with our government and the people in Western Australia, where things are going forward. For the basics of it, with the gun regulations that are coming in, a lot of people losing their firearms. The various things that are afoot. There's obviously the review with the submissions in there. It's relevant to this conversation. That's all in. That started. There's the e-petition, which is about basically trying to stop the police action while the review is in place, and also do a full audit on what actually happened to get to this place, what police are up to. There's the motion for disallowance, which is a disallowance in the upper house for the regulations, which are the key ingredient that make these Firearm Act operational. And so a disallowance, which is in place. So there's that. There's the rally, which, yes, there's a protest rally going to be on the Parliament steps on the 14th of August, lunchtime. So being there at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock on the 14th of August, a rally to show that the West Australian people aren't happy about this. Predominantly at this moment, the fight is about the firearms regulations, but in all honesty, it's about so much more than that. It is about everything else. It is about our recreations. It is about our rights. So that includes the farming, the fishing, the four-wheel driving, the backpacking, the hiking, but it comes down to free speech. It comes down to so many things of what this government's up to. And I suppose what I want to say with that was another important detail I want to, before I get into some of the details of what I've been finding out. There is a person, for the people who are trying to do the right thing, trying to get onto the new system. Be it they're trying to use the portal, which is working again now, but there's so much attached to what's going on with the portal, which is another thing I want to get into, the breach of what actually happened in the portal. There's stuff I want to get into there. But for the people who are trying to get on, and either through the fact of they are set up there but they can't get a property letter because the property can't get on the portal because of the numerous details that are involved with that, from people who aren't tech savvy to people who have combined ownership to you name it. The flaws that are in this system are monstrous. The flaws are bigger than the system, and the system's huge. There's a person, Deb Taylor. I'll put a link to her Facebook page down below where you can reach out to her there. She's done up forms and things for both landowners to get onto the system without the portal, and for firearms owners to get onto the system without using the portal. Ways to actually do this. Doing a very good job of it. Actually, the police are resisting her for some reason or other. They don't want her help to get on without the portal. Fascinating thing, but there is that sort of stuff there. She's had a fair bit of interaction, but she's going strong and doing that. So there is her link down below that you can get to her if you're struggling. People want to know how to do this. Go to that Facebook page and Deb will find a way to help you. So that's a good bit of news for the community. I'm not altogether certain it's good getting onto this system in any form, but individuals are still left out in the cold. Individuals are still handing in firearms because they can't, and Deb's one of the ways that can help you there. So there's someone to talk to. I suppose the portal, I should talk about that as to immediately what comes to mind. The breach, which has been loudly put forward as, okay, that's a pretty serious thing. There's been a little bit of noise from an entity saying, oh, it's not that serious, don't look here. Listen, it is way more serious than even the people who are talking about a breach think it really is. The more you look into it, the more information, and certainly I've been involved in lots of conversations. I've been on the edge of lots of conversation. I've certainly doing what I'm doing, apart from the fact I'm a mechanic who's trying to make a living. I've been involved in a fair few conversations and had a fair bit of in-depth conversations about what's going on here. And the portal, a breach, listen, it wasn't really specifically called a breach. It was actually way worse than that, because it actually shows the system is such a wafer-thin layer of security in any form whatsoever. The simple details of what happened here is that what's been actually obvious to a lot of clubs and a lot of people is that people on what's considered another mess, a corporate license, the way to do a corporate license, so multiple people can get a corporate license. That's what they do for the administrators of clubs. They are on the same sort of corporate license thing. And anyone on that corporate license could see everyone else's details. They can go and check everyone else's details out because it's just so poorly written. I'd ask, where did $35 million go in something that looks like it could be put together for $200,000? It is so ridiculous. Also, I'd ask, from information I got was at the beginning of this process, 18 months ago, when the police started putting this together, people who had been doing it, New South Wales, who'd been doing a registration portal system, digital system, I don't know the details on it. I do know they'd been at it for 5 years and they hadn't got it working properly at that stage. So they sent a warning shot over to WA saying, listen, be really careful here, be warned, this is really unlikely to happen. So the police stomped into this knowing that they weren't likely to get a result when listening to the experts. Spent an enormous amount of money, which I'd be interested to see where that went, because that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and have something that in all essence doesn't work. And talking about a breach, it basically is so poorly set up and so many things don't work, so many things weren't sorted out as to why people with multiple owned properties can't get on the portal, why so much of it doesn't work, why it breaks down. All these issues were writing on the wall before they even started the process. But it also, as we've been pointed out, takes all your data, unlike what it's supposed to, legally by securities and its responsibility as a system that uses your digital identity. It's supposed to just take the details it needs. It takes absolutely everything. And now what they're after is to the GPS positions of safes, to locations, to names, to you name. It's taking everything. And because they're not done it properly, the system isn't worked out properly, it's taking all that information and putting on a portal, that the WA Police firearms portal, which has a wafer thin security. And the breach isn't a case of a possibility, it's a definite thing. But think about it, if you're going to crack into the system, already have, you're not going to make it obvious until you've got lots of information there. The one saving grace is it works so badly is there's only 2,500 people on it. So you wouldn't actually breach it at this stage at all. You'll wait until 9 months' time or 6 months' time or 18 months' time when they have everyone's information on there, and that's when then you'd undo the door or pull the drain plug out and take all that information out of there. This system needs to be massively investigated. It really needs to be stopped dead where it is because it's not built properly. They need to do an audit on where the $35 million went and the another $10 million they want to spend on it, where that all went, or where that's planning on going, and start again. I suspect, if they got people to actually write this, they might have a bit of credit up their sleeves through the fact of what they've got for what they've paid. Anyway. Breach, no, wasn't technically a breach, actually shows way, way worse than that. You're actually talking about a egg that's already shattered in a thousand pieces and is sort of just appearing to be the egg at the moment. Anyway, so that's what I can tell you on that. The entities that came out and spoke in the fashion, it's not that important, don't look here, the police are good guys, it's all, listen, I suppose what I want to tell you there is I don't know the motives of that individual, those people. I don't know the motives, truthfully. It's easy to speculate, and there's lots of people that have been. I would say they do not speak for our community. They do not speak for the vast majority of shooters, and that is not given out of just the people I talk to who say that, but I'm one person, so what would I know? But in being involved with meetings, in being involved with heads of organisations, in being involved with politicians, being involved with people that are actually out there talking to people out there amongst the groups, seeing the feedback, that side of things. No one thinks in that fashion. None of the shooters, and this isn't just shooters, this is the four-wheel drivers, this is the fishers, this is the hikers, this is the farmers. No one thinks down the fact of the police are being good guys in the situation, that the security breaches or the personal, the way the portal system, the way the digital identity, no one is on that side whatsoever. It's a really, really bad system in that format. the obvious attack on firearms and disarm the population, which they're obviously up to, is there's very few people that are awake don't see it for what it is. But the moment you start to realise that what's actually happened here is they've written an act, they've written a set of regulations that actually control the act, which means by doing it that way, the police have set up where, because regulations are the driving force of this act, of what they actually use, the regulations are something that the police can put in without oversight of the Parliament, without oversight of the people. They can do that at whim. And this is actually just to do with firearms. So, okay, the people say you don't need firearms, you can have that attitude. But this moves into, they can use this everywhere. They can use this same strategy, this same gameplay moves into, they have a big flexible system that the police are in control of. So our police minister and our police commissioner, the police are in control of. So the definition well, I don't know truthfully the definition, to me it sounds the definition of a police state, where they are going to start laying down the law, and regardless of the people and regardless of what the government have to say, in the fashion of there's no oversight to hear. When they write an act, it has to go through Parliament, it has to be pushed through. Now in this situation, it did get pushed through and got railroaded with using emergency powers, with some skullduggery, with promising to look at it later, not looking later. That got the act through. But the regulations are actually something that are then in play that the police can use. And there is stuff coming for all other parts of our freedoms and of our rights. When the pressure that's coming on farmers, the pressure that's coming on fishers, the pressure that's coming on four-wheel drivers, it all is in play, but a big ticket item is this with the Firearms Act. So without me getting too more technical about it, and there is so much more information of what I'm there, no, the people do not agree with this. To be honest, most of the particular groups that we're talking about aren't on side with this either. The people that are actually at the club, at the ranges and that type of things, the competitive shooters, that sort of stuff, they're not on side with this either. So please, of the thought of, the rhetoric that's starting to come out that no, everyone's okay and the shooters are okay with the situation, no, well, we're not okay with it at all. That does not come from our voice. But also keep in mind, this is about so much more than that. So as for back to the rally, the e-petition, the disallowance motion, these are all in the same place. And although it's about firearms at this moment, it's all about trying to claw back some of the stolen rights and stolen freedoms that the government and our police force are up to. Now, I'll reiterate, I say police force, I'm talking the hierarchy, I'm talking particular hierarchy. They are not operating to our will whatsoever. The actual police on the ground, yes, they're the messengers, and so they sometimes are going to get it in the neck because of that, but they are not our enemy. The people who are doing the wrong thing sit well above them, well above their pay grade than the normal constables you're going to meet on the street. So this is not trying to create a division between our community in a different level of the individuals. This is talking about our hierarchy. On the back to the police hierarchy and the breach, which I think, well, I'm pretty sure I read that, they've just found out about it and it's all news and they're getting on and sorting it out, and I presume the portal went down to sort of pretend to fix that. I say pretend to fix that because the comment was that it was all just released last week, and I have evidence, email evidence, that no, they've known about it for at least a month, probably a couple of months. They've known about this same thing that's going on, where there's people who shouldn't have been able to see people's data. That was a corporate license. I know that's happened. I actually have found out recently there's also someone who bought a second-hand firearm, and with that second-hand firearm, once they got it onto their system, they could see the other person's details on there as well, because the police manually hadn't taken that off that registration, of that license, of that firearm. So the system is a mess. It's working worse than what the old system of dealing with the firearms registry, which we all know, for people who've been involved with them over the years, you could get a firearm removed and then 5 years later they ask where that firearm is, where they have already taken it. It should have already gone, but it wasn't filled in properly, or that paperwork was lost. Same sort of things happening in this portal situation. Anyway, back to the big picture. There's another thing that's in play here of trying to do with the e-petition, with the disallowance motion, is all about the rally. All these things are about trying to put pressure on our government to realise there's issues here. Now, they fumble and the media gets to talk about it. That's another bit of pressure that's on there. So keeping pressure on them to actually ask them to make a sensible decision, which would be stopping things at this moment in all sorts of different fashions. There's also the legal side of things. Kate's up to a certain amount. There's other stuff that's going on, which is all starting to build up. Is it building up fast enough? No, none of it is. None of it's happening fast enough, but we've got to put as much effort in as we can. Another one that's going to be asked, and I'm going to put some stuff down here below, links and bits and pieces, to writing to ministers. Writing to ministers with specifics of some of the details that you'll find down there as to in the links I'm going to put down below, which will give you things that we should be talking about, things that are relevant. And this is firearm based in this situation, but keep in mind, you might not be into firearms, but they're going to be aiming at your four-wheel drive. They're going to be aiming at your fishing spot. They're going to be, I think I heard recently, there's another 30% of the national parks that they want to chain off. That's happening shortly. So that's planned over the next couple of years, where they want to take them so you can't get to see them at all. It's all starts in this place here. This is the place where we get to do things. So even if you're not in firearms, get involved. Really, truly get involved in all forms you can. But what's down there is suggested items. There's also your personal situation, your personal thoughts on this. Writing to ministers, not doing the template letter as has been done previously, not doing an AI letter as has been done previously. Write it yourself. I shouldn't say AI. If it's good enough, I suppose it gets there. The last time we went through that sort of thing, the AI sort of thing was spotted, and then that was just binned as irrelevant because something else wrote that. It's put the effort in. Work out how to write it. There's some instructions down there how to go this, but as many people as you can to get to write in. The more we do of that, the better the whole thing is. With the review, from what I understood, there were 2,600 people, 2,600 submissions to the review, so that was a pretty good effort. There was a fair bit involved with that. Listen, I suppose I will come back to the review, and sorry I'm darting all over the place. The people who put the faith in the review for the firearm side of things, the simple truth is, which I've now been told by several parliamentarians, by people who understand this, is if the review is left to do the work by itself, if you think, I'm done, I've done my review, I'm fully complied, it's all going to go forward, I put all my effort in there. If that's all that's there, then regardless of how good an effort, it will probably take 12 months, is probably what this is going to get extended to. They have the largest ever review to do, and they have in the way of the amount of what the Act is, it's the biggest thing there is, so that's a big job that they've got to do. The 3 months is about time to make it happen, but they're not going to make that happen. They're not going to do anything reasonable in that time frame. With that amount of submissions, they've got to read all those, they've got to go through, they've got to have discussions. Even if they do all that sort of stuff, it's still only a suggestion. If it waits until the really 9 months from now, let alone 12 months from now, when the police have rolled on through and done everything, there's no way the government is going to go to the trouble to roll things back. They're just not going to. They're going to work out a way to smooth it over. So these problems, these other problems, other things we can do, the e-petition, the disallowance motion, the rally or more rallies, or turn it into what it ever can, is the only thing that gives us a chance of giving that review power. And the review gives the e-petition everything, all these problems, all are going to help. The rally, everything works together. It's time to wake up and do that sort of stuff. Anyway, back to the submissions. Write in your personal details, your personal emotions in the situation. Be polite, be courteous, but write in and try and go through all those details. You'll have listed in there the name of the person or the position of the person. Write in individually. Don't do a CC or a BCC where you just send it all to everyone. It's just, well, everyone else has got this, so I won't worry about reading it. writing individually to people. Call them by their first name if you can, or go through the process of being cordial, being polite, but make it personal. Make it to these people to get as much power as you can with it. There is also different tactics and different people you should be talking to. A fair bit down there, and I'm talking about there where you're talking to the Greens or Labor or whoever it is. It matters talking to all of them. So I think there's 36 different people you can speak to in Parliament. Please get involved with it, get people involved with it, get your family involved with it, give it so there is something that they can't just throw out, that they do have to pay attention to. As for the rally of what's coming up here, I suppose hopefully it all is promoted by everyone. This is about, the last one we had was actually pushed back against by some of the community, the firearms community through, listen, there's some logic to the motive and there's some stuff that wasn't really logical in what they did. There were no issues. Please do not be frightened of being there, that sort of stuff. This is all on Parliament House. This is a statement much more than firearms. This should involve everybody about freedoms and about rights and about overreaching government, overreaching police force in all forms. So there is certainly the crisis of our firearms we're under at the moment, with people losing firearms and losing licences and that side of things, through no fault of their own. But just around the corner is whether it's there, and yes, there are four-wheel drive limiting, there's fishing limiting, there's national parks limiting, there is, you name it. It goes in every fashion you can. Your farmers and what they've been squeezed through, the fishers, what they've been squeezed through. This is actually all in a very, very similar thing. Overreaching government doing what they want to do rather than what the people want them to do. So that's much more what this is about. The likes of Brian Walker, what he's up to with the disallowance, the likes of what Dave Finney's up to with his e-petition side of things, the likes of this whole community which we're talking about. It's much more about the future of Western Australia. It's much more about our freedoms. It's much more about our rights. There is limitations on free speech. I've just heard recently there's another 30% of our national parks are going to be roped off really short. They're going to be taken out. That's what's in play. When I speak to some of the parliamentarians, and they can't tell me details, but they can tell me bits they can, there is lots of stuff happening. Basically, our government is deciding to do things for itself or for other interests than ours, and that's not okay. So if you care about your future, you care about your children's future, you care your grandchildren's future, then now's the time where the people are standing up, be part of this and turn it into more. As for at the rally, yes, there's obviously dress well, all that sort of stuff, bring along family members, whether that's daughters or grandparents or a disabled family member. It comes to whatever you can get there. And in all forms, this is, yes, there is the crisis of what's happening with our firearms at the moment, but this is much more about your future and about actually trying to keep Western Australia or get West Australia back to where we actually have a government that works for the people. So be there in all forms you can be, in bright colours, do placards up. If there's people want to help with that sort of stuff, if there's ways that sensible, smart marketing campaigns that go with this process, please get in touch. There is some contacts. There's our email address below. Not that I'm organising this thing, but I know enough people to be able to pass you on to who will be able to help on that form. There's some other details below there for all this stuff here. Go down there and I'll try and lay it out in the details below the video of all the bits and pieces so you can go through and find out how to help, how to be involved. The rally is 12 o'clock. 14th of August on the steps of Parliament House. So be there and be part of it. And if there are the people that are being negative about this, or we can't do that, or I'm frightened about being identified, you have been identified. As most situations, we are being targeted in various ways by our government. So it's time to stand up and push back. Be part of the large group, of the large voice that says, listen, no, this isn't okay. We don't want to break the rules. We don't want to crush the government, but we do want them to work for us. We do need to change what's going on. You know, we have it, I think in all our government there is issues. There are definitely allies, there's good guys amongst them, but there's a whole heap of people that are doing things for the government, by the government, for the interest of the government, which has got nothing to do with you, the civilians. So time to push back, be involved with all that side of things. I think that's the main details I want to get into with that. I'll just do a quick mental check. No, yeah, I think that's it. We've got the breach, which actually happened, like I said, not so much a breach, actually way worse than that, showing how bad the system is and how much it's going to share when it is breached, which is coming if it's left as it is. We have the bill coming to say, okay, the people who are saying from supposedly the firearms community saying it's all okay, don't look here, this is all good, we're all happy with that, we're happy with this sort of stuff. No, we're not. No, the community's not. The firearms community is just like the rest of the community. We're not happy with overreaching government or overreaching police force whatsoever. So no, they're not speaking for us. And I can't say I speak for everyone. Everyone I've spoken to are speaking for their communities, and their communities are not on side with this whatsoever. As for the things that to try and fix all this side of things is about creating the issues, pushing in every fashion we can. So you have the review is one bit of it, that's in play, that's already in go mode, but going to take a fair old while. We have the e-petition and the disallowance. These are things that by themselves may not get anything done. Put them all together as part of the mix, very important things to do. So get involved with the e-petition. If your group isn't, have a proper conversation about it, because yes, it is another one of those things that will help. And without those things, your review is not going to matter too much. So those things are certainly relevant. The disallowance, really good strategy as to get there. Everything else needs to be involved with it. We have the submissions of stuff down below there to go through and look at the submissions, work out, write to people, individually write to people, get groups to talk about that sort of stuff. But submissions is another one of those arrows in the quiver that we can send the government's way, another thing to make it relevant on that side of things. We have the rally. That's very much being involved and getting involved with this, getting our community involved, get the conversation going. The last bit that did come to mind is the social media, the sharing side of things. The people that can help with that, people who are on board with that, start Facebook pages, whatever it is, more of this sort of stuff. But we need some people with some skills, better than skills than mine, but people that with social media skills that can start to put together real things, real emotional things, real stories from the people all over the place. So in that format, if you can't do that sort of thing, welcome to send them in to me, get them to your group get together, make some good videos or bits and pieces of good times or bad times at your club, at your group, and that includes with everyone. That's it, the four drivers, the fishers, all the rest of it. If we start to work this problem as a community, to actually start to convince our community not only just to be on our side, to be part of fixing it, and start to work a way to push back our government, because being silent, being the normal West Aussie or Australian and being quiet and just hoping it's all going away, I'll just get on with my business and leave it alone, that isn't going real well at the moment. They are starting to, the government, the police forces are starting to rule the roost here. Well, I don't know if it's starting to, they certainly are taking more and more power. And if we don't want that to turn into where that's going to go, then it's time to get really noisy. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for checking in. We'll catch you next time.